It was in this end of terrace house behind me that Richard Burton, the famous actor, was born on the 10th of November 1925. Today I'm in the village of Pontrhydyfen in South Wales, and I've written about Richard's early life in my new book, and I'd love to read you a passage about him being here in this house. So, Richard was born on the 10th of November 1925 in the small front bedroom of a terraced house in South Wales, the 12th of 13 children in the Welsh-speaking family of Richard and Edith Jenkins. Despite his humble origins, he made a big impression. Richard was described as a real whopper of a baby, weighing 12 pounds. The Jenkins house was in a mining village called Pontrhydyfen, which meant bridge over the ford in the River Fan. It was a hodgepodge of grey stone houses nestled in a valley, the kind of scene you might see on the front of a biscuit tin. The countryside here was magnificently wild, with rivers rushing through the valleys and ospreys and kestrels soaring through the skies. Now, sadly, Richard's mother Edith died when he was very young, and so he spent most of his childhood and his teenage years in Port Talbot, where he lived with his sister, who was called Cis. But he would often come back here to the village of Pontrhydyfen, and I write about that too. But Richard's heart was always in the village, and he visited often throughout his childhood. When he stayed overnight, he would sleep in our bed, his sister Hilda remembered. Two of us girls at the top, and Richard with the other one at the bottom. So it's wonderful to think about Richard here with all his siblings, and how extraordinary to think of the future that lay ahead for him. That he would become one of the most celebrated, most famous actors to have ever lived. A man who was friends with royalty and celebrities all across the world, and who of course married the very glamorous Elizabeth Taylor. But despite all this, wherever he was in the world, Richard's heart was in many ways here in Wales, in this village of Pontrhydyfen. And I write about that at the end of my chapter on Richard Burton. For all the glamour and accolades, he never felt his work was as noble as the work of men who headed down the mines or tore up the rugby pitch. He may have married the world's most beautiful woman and played Hamlet at the Old Vic, but for Richard, the boyhood dream was embedded strong. For all the glitz and fame, he always said he would still have rather played for Wales at Cardiff Arms Park.